Most men spend their lives chasing women, and that's exactly why they keep losing them. The more you chase, the more she runs. The harder you try to impress, the faster her interest fades. Because chasing screams one thing: neediness. And nothing kills attraction faster than a man who needs validation. Real masculine energy doesn't chase, it attracts. It moves with purpose, not desperation. The moment you stop trying to convince a woman to like you and start focusing on your own value, everything changes. She feels it. She senses it. Women don't fall for the man who runs after them. They fall for the man who makes them wonder if they can earn his attention. Chasing shows insecurity, but control shows strength. You don't win women by pursuing them endlessly. You win them by becoming the man who doesn't have to. Today, we'll break down why chasing women never works and how powerful men make women chase them instead. First, chasing destroys your value. Every time you chase a woman, you send one silent message: I'm not enough unless you choose me. That energy alone kills attraction. Women don't fall for men who beg for attention. They fall for men who command it without trying. When you chase, you flip the natural polarity. Instead of being the prize, you make her the center of your world. And the moment you do that, she loses interest. Attraction is built on respect, and respect only flows towards strength. The man who chases communicates weakness. He shows that he values her opinion more than his own worth. And nothing is less attractive than a man who doesn't see his own value. You see, chasing creates imbalance. The more effort you pour in, the less she has to. The more you pursue, the less she invests. It becomes a game of emotional economics. The person who invests less holds the power. When you're always the one texting first, planning everything, seeking validation, you hand over control of the dynamic. And once she feels like she's already won you, the mystery dies. You stop being a challenge, and you start being an option. Women are drawn to men who lead, not men who follow their approval. Real men understand this truth. Attention is currency, and giving too much of it makes you broke. You don't win her by overgiving. You win her by holding your ground. You show interest, yes, but you don't beg, chase, or over-explain. You move with confidence and purpose, and you let your actions speak. Because a man who respects himself doesn't chase validation. He commands it naturally. Here's the irony: when you stop chasing, women start noticing. They can sense a man who values himself, his time, his energy, his peace. That calm confidence is magnetic. It makes her curious, makes her want to earn your attention. The same energy that made her run away when you were chasing now makes her lean in when you walk away. So remember this: chasing never wins attraction, it destroys it. Because a man who knows his worth doesn't run after women. He builds a life so powerful that women start running after him. Second, chasing puts you in the weaker position. The moment you start chasing, you surrender your power. You hand over the frame of the interaction to her, and from that point on, you're reacting instead of leading. The man who chases becomes the one waiting for a reply, the one overanalyzing texts, the one constantly adjusting his behavior just to stay relevant. That's not attraction, that's submission. And women can feel it instantly. They might enjoy the attention for a while, but deep down they lose respect for a man who places her on a pedestal instead of standing on his own. Masculine energy is about direction, not desperation. It's steady, grounded, and unbothered. The man who doesn't chase moves with purpose. He's focused on his goals, his mission, his growth. That's what creates attraction, not frantic pursuit, but quiet confidence. When you chase, you communicate that her validation is more important than your self-respect. You're telling her she's the prize and you're the pursuer. But in reality, the true prize is the man who doesn't need to prove his worth. He already knows it. When you chase, you lose leverage. You make her comfort the goal instead of the connection. You adjust your energy to please her instead of staying authentic. That imbalance creates emotional exhaustion. You give, she receives, and eventually she loses interest because there's no polarity left. You can't lead when you're following. You can't attract when you're chasing. The man who doesn't chase doesn't play games. He just knows his value. He doesn't beg for attention. He earns respect by being consistent, composed, and confident. Women notice that energy instantly. They can sense the difference between a man who needs attention and a man who deserves it. One repels, the other magnetizes. Here's the truth. Chasing might get you noticed, but it will never earn you respect. The man who keeps his power doesn't chase approval. He chooses alignment. He doesn't need to be chosen. He decides who's worthy of his time. And that quiet control, that calm detachment, is what makes women lean in, because deep down, every woman desires a man who doesn't need her, but still chooses her. Third, chasing kills. Mystery and attraction. Attraction isn't logical, it's emotional. It's built on tension, curiosity, and uncertainty. When a woman doesn't fully know where she stands with you, her mind stays engaged. She wonders what you're thinking, if you're interested, what makes you tick. That uncertainty creates excitement. It's what makes her feel. But when you chase, you destroy that tension. You remove every ounce of mystery by constantly reassuring, texting, over-explaining, and showing too much availability. She no longer wonders about you because she already knows you're hooked. And the moment she knows that, the game is over. Women don't want a man who's predictable in his pursuit. They want a man who's unshakable in his presence. When you chase, you shift from mystery to monotony. She goes from feeling excitement to feeling pressure. Every time you double text or overcompliment, you're trying to close a gap that should stay open. That small distance is where attraction grows. It's where her imagination does the work for you. When you remove it, you kill the very spark that made her interested. Mystery isn't about playing games, it's about restraint. It's about not showing all your cards too soon. When you keep a little space, a little unpredictability, you give her room to invest emotionally. The key is to make her wonder, not chase her. You don't need to disappear. You just need to stop oversharing. Stop over-pursuing. Stop constantly trying to prove your worth. Attraction thrives when there's curiosity, when she feels something she can't fully define. When you chase, you hand her certainty. And certainty is the death of desire. The most magnetic men understand this. They move with quiet confidence. They give attention in doses, not desperation. They make women feel seen but not suffocated. They speak less but mean more. Every action feels intentional, not needy. That creates an energy women crave. The unknown, the edge, the calm self-assurance that says, you can come closer, but I'll never beg you to. Here's the truth. What makes a woman obsessed isn't constant attention. It's controlled mystery. It's the feeling that she hasn't quite figured you out yet. Because once she knows you're fully chasing her, she stops feeling desire and starts feeling power. But when she feels curiosity instead, she starts chasing you. Fourth, chasing comes from scarcity, not strength. When you chase a woman, you're not acting from confidence, you're acting from fear. Fear of losing her, fear of being alone, fear that you're not good enough. That's why chasing feels desperate. It's born from scarcity. You believe she's rare, that you won't find another like her, that this one shot defines your worth. And that belief is exactly what makes you weak. A man who truly values himself never chases, because he understands one thing: options equal power. The more you build your life, your mindset, your purpose, the less you cling to any single person. You stop seeing her as your only chance for happiness, and that shift alone makes you more attractive. Scarcity is emotional poverty. It makes you operate from lack instead of abundance. When you're in scarcity, you overthink every message, overanalyze every word, and constantly chase reassurance. You pedestalize her, turning her into a goal instead of a person. That's why chasing never works. It flips the dynamic. You're supposed to be the source of security, not the one seeking it. Women don't want men who need them to feel complete. They want men who are already complete and simply choose them. The man who operates from abundance never chases because he knows his worth doesn't depend on anyone's approval. He understands that attraction isn't something you force. It's something you draw in by who you are. When you chase, you lose that magnetism. You tell the world you're desperate for what you haven't earned. But when you live with purpose, building your body, your mind, your success, you radiate strength. And strength always attracts. Scarcity keeps you stuck in emotional survival mode. You chase because you're trying to fill an inner void with external validation. But that never works. It only creates dependency. The moment you stop chasing and start choosing, everything changes. You start moving like a man who doesn't beg for love, he embodies it. You don't need to run after attention because your energy commands it naturally. Here's the truth: women can feel when you're chasing from lack. They can smell desperation a mile away, but they can also sense abundance, peace, purpose, confidence. And that's what makes them curious, what pulls them closer. Stop chasing out of fear, start living with purpose, and the right women will start chasing you. Fifth, chasing makes you forget your purpose. When you start chasing a woman, you lose sight of the most important thing that makes you masculine: your mission. A man's power doesn't come from how much attention he gives, it comes from how much direction he has. Purpose is what gives you presence. It's what makes you grounded, focused, and attractive. But when you start chasing, your focus shifts from progress to validation. You stop thinking about your goals, your discipline, your growth, and instead every thought revolves around her. You start living reactively, not intentionally. That's when your masculine edge disappears. Women are naturally drawn to men who are locked in on something bigger than themselves. When you're driven, you radiate a calm dominance. Because you're not waiting for approval, you're moving with purpose. But when your entire energy revolves around one woman, you communicate that she is your purpose. And that instantly kills attraction, because no woman wants to be with a man who's lost his center. She may like the attention at first, but soon she starts to feel the imbalance. When she becomes your focus instead of your mission, she loses respect. And without respect, attraction dies. Chasing drains your masculine power because it replaces creation with chasing validation. Instead of building your empire, you start building fantasies. You trade productivity for obsession, growth for anxiety. The man who once had goals now waits for replies. The man who once led his life now follows emotion. That's not leadership, that's surrender. And nothing kills attraction faster than a man who abandons his purpose for a temporary feeling. Here's the truth: your purpose must always come first. It's not about ignoring women, it's about not losing yourself in the pursuit of one. When you're living fully, improving yourself, building something meaningful, you naturally attract women who respect your drive. They're drawn to the man who moves forward with or without them. That quiet indifference, that sense of direction, is magnetic. When you chase, you tell the world, "My value depends on her attention." When you stay focused, you say, "My value creates attention." And that difference changes everything. Stop chasing women. Chase purpose, chase mastery, chase growth. Because the moment you stop making her your mission, she'll start wanting to be part of it. Sixth, chasing kills. Respect, and without respect, love can't exist. A woman might tolerate a man who chases her, but she'll never respect him. And once respect is gone, attraction is gone. Respect is the foundation of desire. It's what makes her see you as a man she can trust, follow, and be drawn to. But when you chase, you trade leadership for approval. You tell her, "You're above me." You start over-texting, over-pleasing, over-apologizing, trying to prove your worth instead of knowing it. That behavior might come from good intentions, but it communicates weakness. And no matter how kind or generous you are, a woman can't feel real attraction toward a man she doesn't respect. Women are biologically wired to test strength, not through muscles or money, but through presence. When she feels you chasing, she sees you losing that presence. You start acting like a boy seeking permission instead of a man setting the tone. The more you try to impress her, the more she feels she's in control. And the second she feels that, the polarity dies. Because feminine energy only relaxes in the presence of masculine certainty. Chasing communicates the opposite. It says, "You lead, I'll follow." And that kills the emotional charge that keeps attraction alive. When you stop chasing, something powerful happens. She starts respecting you again. You move with calm, not chaos. You respond instead of react. You value your energy enough to give it sparingly, not endlessly. That restraint commands respect. It tells her, "I want you, but I don't need you." And that sentence alone flips the dynamic. Because a woman can't resist a man who has self-control. It's not arrogance, it's authority. It's knowing your worth without needing validation. Respect isn't demanded, it's earned. And it's earned through boundaries, through discipline, through knowing when to walk away instead of begging to stay. When you chase, you lower yourself to gain attention. When you hold your ground, you elevate yourself, and she feels it instantly. That's when admiration replaces indifference. Here's the truth. Chasing feels like effort, but it's actually self-sabotage. Because the more you run after her, the less she sees your strength. But when you stay composed, focused, and unbothered, she starts to see what most men lose, the rare, unshakable power of self-respect. And that's the kind of energy no woman can ignore. Seventh, chasing blocks. The natural flow of attraction has its own rhythm. It's a dance, not a chase. It flows naturally when two people bring equal energy, when curiosity and chemistry build gradually. But when you chase, you disrupt that rhythm. You start forcing connection instead of letting it unfold. You text too much, call too soon, compliment too often. You try to speed up what should happen slowly. And that forced energy suffocates attraction because what feels natural turns into pressure. Women don't fall for men who chase. They fall for men who allow things to unfold while staying grounded in their frame. The reason chasing never works is because it flips the polarity of desire. Masculine energy is supposed to lead with certainty and allow space. Feminine energy responds to that space. It wants to be drawn in, not cornered. When you chase, you close that space. You make her feel trapped instead of intrigued. You leave her no room to miss you, to wonder about you, to invest emotionally. Real attraction needs oxygen. It needs distance and flow. Chasing removes both. The man who doesn't chase doesn't lose connection. He controls it. He understands that attraction is nurtured by presence, not pressure. He doesn't rush what's meant to build. He knows when to engage and when to pull back. That restraint creates balance. It allows curiosity and tension to grow on their own. And when that happens, the woman starts feeling the pull toward him without even understanding why. Here's the truth. Chasing breaks the natural rhythm of attraction because it tries to control what should remain organic. The more you force, the less she feels. The less you force, the more she wonders. You don't need to chase when you embody strength, peace, and purpose. That calm confidence is magnetic. It keeps the dynamic alive without effort. So stop trying to manufacture connection. Stop pushing for instant validation. Let attraction breathe. Let her come toward you while you stay grounded in your frame. Because when you stop chasing, everything that's meant for you naturally gravitates your way. Attraction isn't about control, it's about energy. And when your energy is calm, focused, and self-assured, you'll never have to chase again. Everything will start chasing you. Conclusion. Chasing women never works because it flips the natural order of attraction. The moment you chase, you tell her you need her more than you value yourself, and that energy kills desire instantly. Attraction isn't built through effort, it's built through presence, confidence, and control. When you chase, you lose all three. You move from leading to pleading, from grounded to desperate, from masculine to uncertain. Real men never beg for validation. They create it through who they are and what they build. When you stop chasing, you reclaim your power. You stop seeking attention and start commanding it. You shift your focus from women to your mission, your health, your discipline, your success. That shift transforms your energy because purpose is magnetic. Women are drawn to men who are focused, stable, and selective. They don't fall for the man who needs them. They fall for the man they can respect. So remember this truth. Chasing might get you noticed for a moment, but respect keeps you desired for life. Don't chase her. Build yourself. The stronger you become, the less you'll need to run after anyone. And when you master that, you'll realize the game was never about winning her. It was about becoming him.